particles. Whenever required, there is disinfectant gel at your disposal.
Gekriegt, auf jeden Fall, die hängen auf den Festen drauf.
Da steht auf den Zetteln.
Flores is the fourth smallest island in the Azores. Santa Cruz das Flores, the municipality in the northern half of the island with its airport, seemed sleepy. The center can quickly be explored with a short walk. Days later, we also started our rib excursion along the northeast coast of Flores from here to Corvo, which is barely 20 kilometers away.
Welcome to Flores.
The island rightly bears the name Flores, flowers, as the variety of plants is unique, as is the blaze of color, as you'll see.
Here you can see the remainings of the yacht harbor here in Lage. So 2 years ago there was the Hurricane Lorenzo, hit the harbor pretty bad. And you can see the breakwater is all gone and they're still recovering all the sunken parts there. Yeah, when we were in Portugal last year, we had the big waves from the Hurricane Lorenzo coming in. Yeah, so we're still rebuilding the whole place.
The only remaining thing you can really see is on the jetty, the part where Delos painted their sign when they visited the Azores. I don't know when it was, 2-3 years ago. The taxi driver that brought us to the place where we sleep reported of 200 km/h winds. He said in the stormy seasons they have about 100 to 120 km/h winds, but that was really strong, and of 15-meter waves. Das hier ist alles zerfetzt worden, ist einfach, ne? Ja.
Fisch.
Mann, Sünde.
I like your cap here.
Huh?
I like your cap.
Yeah.
Hello.
The beauty of the island certainly reveals itself when you take the time and set off on foot into the wildly romantic, often untouched, deserted interior of the island and its coastal regions. Climate-wise, Flores is the island with the most water in the archipelago, with an average annual rainfall of 1,500 millimeters. It rains almost twice as much on Flores as on the island of Santa Maria, which is almost 600 kilometers away, and about twice as much as in our hometown of Kiel. The interior of Flores presents itself as a mountainous, often barren landscape with lakes, some of which are of unique beauty. Because they all fill craters of volcanic origin, they are also called calderas. Most impressive is the view from the narrow ridge that separates Lagoa Comprida on the right and Lagoa Funda on the left. They are located on the island's east-west road link, also close to the Lagoa Branca and Lagoa Seca. A swim in the Lagoa Funda, as beautiful as it sparkles green, is not recommended, as the lake is always on the verge of tipping over. There are 7 lakes in total. They are all surrounded by predominantly endemic vegetation, a small El Dorado for botanists and also a breeding ground and resting place for many birds. Und ganz schön matschig, ne?
Aber durch meine Wanderflipflops brauche ich noch mehr.
Krass, ne, dass die ganzen Berge hier quasi fast blau sind, ne?
Ja.
It's wet. I can feel it. Was hat das für eine Konsequenz?
Ja, keine Konsequenz einfach.
Ich sag Huhn.
Huhn. Okay, guck mal, jetzt machst du so. Hier ist ein Huhn.
Hier eine Rennbahn. Einfach auf dem Po. Und runter geht's. Es ist super slippery hier. Small, tranquil villages characterize the sparsely populated coastal region of western and southwestern Flores. Faja Grande, often called the westernmost settlement in Europe, is one of the cornerstones that delimit the area of the European Union, if you ignore the French Overseas Department of Guadeloupe.
We are today in Faja Grande, and this is, I would say, the perfect house. It's next to the waterfall, not far away from the beach. Looks like a pretty good surf spot down there. Remote, not that touristy, nice climate. So if I would choose a retirement spot, this is gonna be it.
Today it is hard to imagine that Faja Grande was the second largest town in Flores in the 18th century. Until the beginning of the 19th century, Faja Grande was one of the wealthiest places on the island. Strolling through the narrow streets, a few old stately houses catch the eye, from a time when whaling brought money to Flores. At that time, it still had a safe and well-fortified port. What a pity. If we hadn't had to check in Horta after our Atlantic crossing in order to also prove a negative COVID test, Faja Grande would have been a possible landing place to anchor at, although there is a warning about massive Atlantic swells since the bay is very open. On the way to Faja Grande coming from the south, you pass the turnoff to the village of Fajacinha and come along an old watermill, the Moinho da Lagoa.
Vielleicht muss man doch nochmal in den Keller gehen und gucken, wie die Rädchen sich drehen.
It is still in use. Maize is primarily grounded here by a miller. About 3 kilometers before Faja Grande, you can make a detour to the Pozo da Lagoinha, a pond that is fed by several waterfalls, a fairy tale wonderland. Thanks for following our journey, this time on beautiful Flores that we'll explore more of next time. Unlike the other islands of the Azores, Flores lies on the American continental shelf. So we actually crossed the plate boundary on the plane coming here. Today only a few hot sulfur springs and picturesque crater lakes remind of its volcanic origin as it lies at a safe distance from the tectonic fault zone. In our next episode, it's going to be quite volcanic as well, when we hop over to little but very steep Corvo with its huge caldera before disappearing into Terceira's cold and seedy underworld. So much adventure and lasting impressions before another last Atlantic crossing back to Europe after 2 years halfway around our globe and back against winds and currents.
So I think this was it, hopefully. So we are in the middle of the low pressure system. As you can see, the sun is shining. We just got pretty strong winds, about 40 knots. Back in North Atlantic again, yay!
Stay tuned and see you soon!